In your composition, Heterogeneity for guitar, the modules are of increasing length. Why did you choose that method of development?
So I've been interested in the form that Bela Bartok used that's called arch form. And I wanted to explore that form, but not do it in the same way that Bartok did. So I decided to do what I called super arch form, which is just, instead of just having A, B, C, B, A, it's A through Z and then Z through A. So it's a much larger kind of arch. But to make the form have some cohesion to it, I thought it would have a good impetus, a good trajectory to speed up towards the middle and then have longer sections in the middle and then speed up towards the end. So smaller and smaller sections towards the end. And so that way it's kind of balanced.
Okay, it's great. And what was your approach to silence in Heterogeneity?
At the same time I was interested in Bartok, I was also interested in John Cage and other artists composers that have used silence in different ways, but trying to explore silence in new ways was something I was trying to explore, and how, as composers, we could shape a silence. Since there's no sound occurring that we're trying to control, to shape the silence through drama was something that I was exploring in that piece. And so if I gave the performer directions such as awkward silence or confused silence, how would that manifest itself in performance?
In your composition, amalgamation for splinter reeds, how are divisions identified?
In amalgamation, I was doing a little bit of a slower division, sectional division. So each section is different from the last. So the first section is sort of in a romantic style, and then the next section is much more modern, and then it moves back in time and it goes into like kind of an imitative counterpoint, like 18th century sort of style. But then it moves forward in time, and so we go into like a funk section, and then a bebop jazz section, and then like a closing section. So the sections have these stylistic elements to it, and stylistic disjunctions are just something that I've been trying to pursue in my music.
Great. There is a certain theatrically to your work. Is the theatrically always present, and if not, how do you decide when to include it?
So it's a challenge, because I think that asking performers who are not actors to act is a difficult thing. It will make some performers feel uncomfortable, and so it really, I would only use theatricality in an overt way if I talked to the performer and made sure that they were comfortable with it. I wouldn't want someone to not like the music just because I added this one element. So while I'm interested in including theatricality to music that wouldn't necessarily have it, like a string quartet or a piano piece, if I speak with the performer and I get the sense that they're not interested in that, I'll definitely scale back and say, oh, okay, we're not going to do that for this piece.
Okay, okay. And your trombone duet Rufus, Javier, and Spin Chase, A Chicken Throat at Church, includes many humorous references. Why do you think humor is important?
So very similarly to theatricality, I think that humor is something that's often missing in contemporary music. I wanted to explore humor from a very early time of my writing and kind of turn things around in terms of how we approach quote unquote serious music. I think music can be both serious in terms of its complexity, but at the same time have humor to it. So that was something I was exploring with the trombone duet. Is like having some complexity and stylistic shifts like I was exploring, but also at the same time having humor imbued into the fabric of the piece.
Awesome. Many of your pieces have multiple stylistic references, which you have referred to as stylistic disjunctions. Are there any pieces that you have written that do not use this technique? And why did you choose to write them differently?
Um, so for the stylistic disjunctions, I think is one of my go-to ways of exploring humor in music, especially with music that doesn't have words. When we introduce words, we can make jokes in other ways and include humor that is, political or social commentary or self-deprecating, that kind of thing. But referring back to pieces that don't have the stylistic disjunctions, um, I want some pieces to have other things going on with them. So one aspect of music that I've been exploring is this feeling of bittersweet, a bittersweet feeling that comes, and there are very few pieces that strike me as bittersweet. I've been scouring the literature for examples, and I listen to a lot of music myself, and am always looking for that feeling because I think it's a very tentative feeling. It doesn't. If a piece has a bittersweet quality, it might not even last more than a couple measures of the whole composition. So that's something else that I explore that doesn't involve stylistic disjunctions is something that is just purely bittersweet. So the first orchestra piece I wrote explores that, and also I wrote a series of miniatures for piano that explore that as well.
So, thank you.